Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. One thing I've learnt in life is it's never too late to learn something new. So on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. 19-year-old law student, entrepreneur, podcaster and blogger Te Kahukura Boynton is my guest today. Te Kahukura is the founder of Māori Millionaire, a community of people trying to achieve financial independence and empowerment for Māori. Te Kahukura has a big goal. She is going to be a millionaire by the time she's 25. And that's what she's here to talk about today. Welcome in.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Okay, 2 rules. First is I'm allowed to ask you anything, but you don't have to answer. And the second, we call this our safe space. Mm-hmm. So it's just no judgy zone.
Awesome.
Anything you say is all good. Some quick fire questions, shall we?
Cool.
Have you got a favourite movie of all time?
Oh, I really liked Holes, to be honest. It's a really random one.
Is it? I don't know it. Do I know it?
Probably not. Most people don't. But I remember watching it when I was at school and I thought it was quite inspiring. It was about being... basically they had peaches and they were preserved and it was just a lot of random things that they had, but I really enjoyed it.
I don't mind random. And do you cook?
Yes, I like cooking.
Oh, okay, what's your go-to?
Spag bowl. Love a spag bowl.
Brilliant.
All the leftover veggies in the fridge.
I was going to say, do you put veggies in?
Yes, all the leftovers that, are getting a bit manky.
Yeah.
Everything, all in one.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yum, I like that. And what would your perfect day look like?
Oh, a perfect day. Honestly, it would be waking up somewhere sunny, not being woken up by the alarm clock, love reading,
cool.
Day reading, no alarms, nowhere to be, perfect day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love reading too. Okay, this is where we get to learn a bit more about you, where you're from, what you're doing. Later on, we're going to focus on some financial advice in the second half, but let's get to know you a little bit better. So where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Ahuriri. I was there probably until I was about 15, grew up with my mum.
Where's that?
In Napier.
Yes,
got
it.
Yeah, I went to St. Joseph's Māori Girls College. It was an awesome time. I think it's a really rare experience to have a collection of Māori, I guess, that are just inspired and kind of forced to do really well in school. I think that's quite different from a lot of the experiences my friends at uni have being Māori in school.
So was it just more engaging and could you just relate to it more? I
guess we were shown from a young age that you can be successful as Māori, and I think that was important for me, and I think the expectations were really high, and I think that also played a big role in being able to, like all of my friends at school, we were forced to kind of do well, and there was no choice other than to kind of stick at school and do our best.
Wow, okay, that's cool. So what was your upbringing like then?
Yeah, my mum's very strict. She was very strict when I was growing up, so I wasn't allowed to watch TV before school, things like that. It was like, I'm bored, Mum. Oh, okay, go read a book. So that was my kind of childhood. There was a lot of reading. She really encouraged education. My nanny's a school teacher, my papa was a school teacher, and so education was really important in my whānau, and it was something that was kind of encouraged as a pathway to allow ourselves to do something more than the status quo.
Wow. And so that encouragement, that knowing someone backed you, that they had that level of expectation of you, because, your interest in finance and your interest in personal finance is unusual.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. None of my friends kind of had that same whakaaro, especially when I was younger. I remember talking to my friends at high school, about the stock market, and they were like, oh, that's not a real thing. You can't actually make money doing that. And I was like, no, guys, I read it in a book. You can.
Wow.
And then as I continued on my journey and actually was able to see real results, I think that's when I kind of thought, okay, like this is something that a lot of people don't understand, but it's because it's not taught in our homes, it's because it's not taught in school, and it's because it's not normalised to be spoken about openly.
So why did you start Māori Millionaire?
Well, I was at university, and despite reading all these books at a young age, I found myself in a really tricky situation where I had asked my whānau for support to go to university to get my moving costs and everything, and that was all kei te pai, and then I had no money, and so my student allowance hadn't kicked in, I didn't have a car, and it was really hard to find a job without a car because everyone wants you to be able to drive to work. And then I was just broke, and I was worried about paying rent, and I found it really difficult to focus on my law studies. And so it was then that I decided, I'm not the only one going through this stuff. All my other friends were broke as well. And I thought, this isn't fun. It's not nice. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for so many things. And it also means that if Māori are at uni and we're worrying about money, we're not going to perform as well as our peers are if we're worrying about money all the time. And so if I was able to help, say, one person to at least start budgeting or to create multiple sources of income, then that would help us to do better.
How did you start for yourself then? Did you end up getting a job? How did you get that first initial income? Because we're going to talk about some of your investing, which is really interesting. But how did you make those first few steps?
It was really, really hard, to be honest, and it was about not giving up. So despite being rejected for all the jobs I applied for, I think there were about 50, to be honest, finally there was this lady who gave me a job, and I think in like year 9 I won a maths award at school. I wasn't actually that good at maths by the time I was at uni, but she gave me a job tutoring maths, which was really awesome.
Cool.
And I was terrible at maths, so I had to go to the library, and I literally was a uni student getting out year 7 and 8 books on maths so I could reteach myself like algebra for intermediate students so that I could tutor them, so that I could pay my rent, which I finally was able to. And then after that I kept on applying for jobs, ended up with 2 jobs, and I just lived really frugally, saved my emergency fund, and that was the start, I guess, for me.
Wow, that's really interesting though. Even that you had the foresight to get the job and then know that not all you had to do, but that you could take steps to educate yourself so that you could do the job well. A lot of people just would have thought they'd bluff it or that they wouldn't do that. And so your tenacity really and intelligence really shines through on that, I've got to say.
Well, I think it would be really embarrassing if like a year 7 knew more about maths than me. So I knew it was something that, anything we know can be taught. So I knew I could spend a few nights just really going hard on year 7 algebra, and I'd be able to do it.
Okay, let's be really clear. A year 7 would know more about maths than me, right?
Probably me too. I think I've forgotten again.
Okay, well that's all right then. It's about what's important for life going forward, isn't it? And we are going to talk a lot more about that because I am really genuinely interested. But do you see yourself as a bit of a role model for Māori? Because, you do so genuinely want to give back, which is part of why you've started Māori Millionaire.
I don't know if I see myself as a role model, but I really believe that in this collective idea that we all have something to bring to the table, and if I'm able to teach myself how to overcome financial struggles, then and other people are able to be inspired by that, then that's my thought. And
it's your lived experience, right? So I do sometimes think that if you've lived it, then helping others, you automatically get their respect for that, because it's not like you're sort of sitting on some millionaire stool telling everybody how to save their pennies.
Exactly. And that's all these puka that I have read in the past, they were coming from people who hadn't been through any kind of financial struggles. It's like, my parents were rich and I inherited wealth, but I know how to invest in the stock market, so I'm going to talk about that. And that's just not relatable. It's not helpful for a lot of people. And I think it is cool to be able to see, this Māori girl is able to invest in the stock market, I can too.
Yeah. And so why then for you is building some form of wealth, and that's all relative, right? But forming some form of wealth, why is that so important to you?
Well, it's really, I think from a Te Ao Māori perspective, wealth is a collective thing. So if one person's able to achieve millionaire status, then we can all reap the benefits of that, whether that's giving back to our marae or giving back to our iwi and our hapu. I think that also there's a lot of correlation between low income income and our health and our education and access to justice. So all of those things kind of come together, and if we have more Māori who have pūtea, then I think we'll be able to at least reverse a lot of the negative statistics that we see ourselves in.
And there's something I know, certainly, because, for me for years, it was genuinely a financial struggle. And that financial independence for me was freedom, and having choices, which is what we want for our kids,
Yep.
And there is something in that of just going, I want a level of independence so that I have choices. And if that choice is to help others, if that choice is to build my own, it's really strong, eh?
Yeah, and I kind of see pūtea as a way to practice the tikanga which are important to us. So when we're looking at going to tangihanga, the employment laws at the moment don't really illustrate a level of tikanga. And so if we want to, if our tangihanga are 3 days, but you're taking a day off before and a day off after to travel, that's 5 days. How many bosses can you show me that are able to give their employees 5 days off work to go to something? And not even for someone, really close in your family. It's like aunties and uncles or really far out in the whānau, but that's not in our legislation. So it's quite hard to live authentically as Māori if we don't have pūtea.
Yeah. So how do you think we do get young people excited about money and growing their own financial wealth?
Well, I think that the conversation about pūtea can be quite triggering for a lot of people, especially if we have come from low-income households. So I think it's about really educating whānau on what the potential is for us. I think that there's a lot of people who don't have hope anymore to actually become better and to grow wealth. If we've had generations of poverty, then how do you look at or actually even dream about financial independence if you've seen nothing else for generations? So I think it really is about that education and normalising the kōrero about personal finance and investing and actually seeing that there is potential to have more and be better.
And you touched on it at the beginning, you certainly had it at home by the sounds of it, and then that schooling as well, where there were high expectations. And so, if people can dream it for you, then you can start dreaming it a bit for yourself. And, I can remember I was once handing out certificates and awards, and it was to people about your age, actually, and they had done a barista's course, and their whānau were all there, and it was mainly Pacifica Māori, and for most of them in that room, it was the first time they'd ever got some form of recognition or actually accomplished something in that sort of way. And I was giving a bit of an inspirational speech and really encouraging them and telling them how wonderful. But then I said, so who here has the dream of owning the cafe? Who here, and not a single one of them put up their hands. And then I, to be a bit controversial, I went, are you too brown to own it? Is that for the flash kids from the other school that it's not you? Because that's not true. There's absolutely no reason that shouldn't be your dream as well, if that's what you want.
Yeah, and really I'm not surprised that no one raised their hand, because we're told constantly in society that, whether it's in the media, that Māori aren't doing well, that we're the drug addicts, we're, young parents and all of these things. It's painted in society in bright colours that we're not going to amount to anything. So yeah, I think
it's a kind of that feeling of self-worth has already been put down in you every day of your life, it feels like. And so I mean I too wasn't surprised, but I suppose I wanted to encourage and just go, why not you? Why not you? But it's for so many and quite complicated reasons. But I think what you're doing is really important, as I say, and will have more of an effect from someone your age reaching out as well than some middle-aged, bloody stroppy woman like me trying to tell them what to do. So that's probably a good place to leave this segment. So when we come back, let's have some real advice about how we can achieve financial independence.
Awesome.
Te Kahukura is with me, and we are going to now talk about how to be financially savvy. Our advice segment today is around how to achieve financial independence, and it's the basis for Māori Millionaire. So I talked about it in the intro, but that goal to be a millionaire by 25, I mean, where did that come from? How did you pick the age? It's just fascinating.
Yeah, so I guess it did come from being a young person and reading those books, especially Robert Kiyosaki has been a big influence in my life. And the one thing that I, read in all of these books was that they're not Māori, and I didn't see myself in any of these books. And so that's where the name Māori Millionaire came from. And then when I first started, I don't think I had set a goal of when I would be a millionaire, but I decided I kind of used a SMART goals model, and that's how I formulated the age of 25. So it gives me another 6 years to go. So I think I started my journey a wee while ago, but yeah, it's all part of that SMART goals journey, and that's how I came up with the age. And yeah,
I don't think I need to tell you about numbers, but you are 25 for a whole year too, so
yes.
that gives you that if you need it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, you're not saying 25th birthday, you're saying 25.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was one article, someone said 2025, but no, it's 25, my age, 25.
Brilliant.
Yes, so at the moment I'm really focusing on living below my means, and so despite growing an income through my business, I'm continuing to live as if I was still in that first year of uni as a broke uni student. So I'm boarding and doing all of these things, trying to keep my living expenses as low as they can be, keeping my emergency fund well stacked because you never know what can happen, and then investing the difference. So I'm able to grow that difference. So whether that's reinvesting it into my business to grow, then yeah, that's what I'm working on.
I think we better start with the emergency fund.
Cool.
Okay, so what you've talked about it a couple of times. What's the emergency fund?
So my emergency fund at the moment is $1,000, and it is just a set amount of money. You never know what can happen. Say I lost my job, or I don't know, Māori Millionaire got shut down and I lost my income streams. This would be to cover those expenses so I don't go into debt. It's also for me like a peace of mind thing, like knowing that no matter what happens, I have money to fall back on. I think as I get older and my responsibilities increase, say if I'm married or if I have a mortgage, then that will go up maybe to 3 months of my living expenses. But at the moment, I think it's like a realistic amount for young people to set a goal to have, set a goal of you can start off with $100 and then grow that to $1,000. But
that's smart. Okay, I'm going to test something with you. So my stepdaughter, my daughter is 22, and she is on an apprentice wage, which is lower than minimum wage, right? So she's doing it hard to then jump over. Then she's about to graduate, so it's all going to go well. She's a really good saver.
Cool.
Right? So she is that is definitely her strength. If she's got a bill or something she really needs to do, she borrows the money from me. And then I go to her, but you've got money in your savings. And she goes, I might not pay back my savings account, but I'll
always pay you back.
I will always pay you back.
That's an interesting one. And I think I have done that to my mum as well before, where I've gone, I don't want to touch my savings because it's hard to pay back.
But she's, I do it reasonably regularly.
Okay.
No. Well, I say that about every 3 months, maybe, I might. She always pays me back, always pays me back on time, and builds and keeps building a savings. So I quite admire her for it. I think it's smart.
Yeah, I think that's if you're happy to do that, then if that's a system that works for her, then
interesting,
awesome.
And as you say, you start with that 50, you start with that 100, and then just putting a bit in each week or each fortnight, however you're getting paid. Just see it build, and then you get a bit of a sense of buzz, that you've got some money in your account.
It's quite an accomplishment. I think it's like quite a boost, like, oh yes, it's growing.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you educate yourself to be so financially literate?
I read lots of books. So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was 8.
Oh, really?
After I read that, I called my nan up and I was like, Nan, I need to have an important conversation with you. I need to check that you're maximising your accounts for compound interest. And she's like, Kahu, what are you doing? Aren't you supposed to be at school or something? But it was conversations like that I was having as a young person to actually learn about this. And then I continued to do it. I watch heaps of YouTube videos about money and investing, and I think reading and then stuff on the internet.
And so the more you learnt, the more you wanted to know. You got more questions. And then you'd have to go and search out the answers to that.
Yeah, but it's honestly, I think a lot of people think that you need to actually study it like formally to know much about, investing and stuff. But it's something we can all learn from our phones or from a book.
Yeah. I presume we're kind of going, first step is, build yourself a little bit of that savings so that you're not going to bad debt, because there is bad debt. There's good debt for a big asset like a home that you pay over. But as we know, those finance companies, the interest that you end up paying, some of that stuff's really, really bad and not good. Talk to me then, you've talked about investing. So I'm absolutely mesmerised because I'm still too nervous to invest in anything because I'm just not sure I'm knowledgeable enough.
A lot of people are like that, and I think it really is. I wouldn't put money into anything unless you've done some adequate research to firstly protect yourself, because I think there's a lot of scams out there at the moment. We don't want to get caught up in that, but I think once you've done some research, whether that's reading a book or actually just talking to some other investors, possibly it can be something as small as investing $5 a week into a Sharesies account or a Hatch account, or there's lots of different resources in Aotearoa to invest in the stock market. It can be $5 into the S&P 500 each week, and as your income grows you might decide, I can do $50 a week or $100 a week, and then as you keep on growing and you're making a return on that, that's also quite awesome to be making capital gains or dividends from your investments.
So take me back to the basics. So do you download something or you join to then be able to do those kinds of investing?
So essentially Sharesies and Hatch are quite the popular ones in New Zealand, and you can make an account online. It's free to make an account. You can even get referral links from other people, and you can start your wallet off with $5 or $10 depending on which one you go for.
Yeah.
And then you can set up an AP into your account, so it might be $5 a week. And then from there you can log into the thing. So each of them have apps, I'm pretty sure, and you can just buy each stock or a piece.
And so are you in it for a long time? Because that's what they say, you've got to be able to look at it from a longer term view. And so do you watch it week by week?
No, I definitely have this mindset that the less you look at it, the better. So I like to check in on mine maybe once every 3 months, so that I can not be, because I found myself looking at it daily and oh no, the stock market's dropping, oh no, and it's quite an emotional thing when you've got your money in something. So I try and look at it as less as I can, so that I'm not becoming emotional about downturns.
Okay. You talked about it as well. So that's sort of living below your means, and that's how you're saving some money, right?
Yes.
That you can then invest.
Yeah.
And that is making choices, based on your income and at times some sacrifices, I imagine.
Yes. So I practice value-based spending, and it's basically like a model of understanding how much value something provides for me. So one example is coffee. Going to a coffee shop and spending $7 on a coffee. I enjoy it sometimes. It's nice to just get out of the house and do that, but it's not something I regularly actually find value in doing. I don't think that it improves my day. I know for some people it does. It's what they do to get out of bed, and that's cool. So finding what brings you value and deciding to stop the things that aren't really bringing you value. So I won't spend money on coffee, but I love reading, so I will spend money on books, say from Paper Plus or Whitcoulls. And so that's my value-based model. So if it's going to provide me value, I'm more likely to spend money on it. And if I know that it's not providing me value, then I'll just cross that out.
Yeah, that's really, that's dedication. Okay, so say you've got a bit of a spending problem, which I think I do. Having spent this time talking to you. So really thinking about the value it gives, taking a step back, working out what's important.
Yes.
All right, that's good advice. I'm going to try and do that. Okay. You also talk a bit about increasing sources of income.
Yes.
Talk to me a bit about that.
Yeah, so from the books I've read, the average millionaire has about 7 streams of income, which is that's crazy for a lot of people who get their income from their job, a 9 to 5, that's one source of income. So what millionaires do is that they have a variety of ways to make money, and this basically safeguards them to be able to make money if they're sick, if they maybe they get fired, they don't have their job, they still have those other 6 sources of income to come in. So as a young person, social media is a really easy way to start making money on the internet. So whether that's through brand partnerships or affiliate marketing, there's lots of different ways to make money on the internet. So that's one way that I like to talk about creating new streams of income. And the other ones are like through investing. So capital gains and dividends are also some of those streams. But basically diversifying where you're getting your money from, and that's a way to protect ourselves.
What kind of time? I mean, you've put yourself a fairly strict time period to do that, so you've got 6 years.
Yes.
So have you worked out how much you need to make in a 12-month period to actually reach your financial goal?
Yes. And it's more about, so essentially if I can't save myself to $1 million in that period of time. That's not realistic, and it's not really possible unless someone want to give me a job for $1 million a year. But I've got a plan, a schedule at home on how to do this, and it's basically about keeping my expenses as low as they can be, boosting my income through those different sources of income, investing the difference, saving. I want to buy my first home eventually. So all of these things will contribute to that $1 million.
Okay, so for a young person out there, this feels quite daunting, or a parent out there that wants to help their young person with financial independence, where should they start?
Oh, I think that one of the best things that my mum did as a young person was bringing me along the journey with her. So as a young person, she was on the benefit and she started working again, and she decided she wanted to buy her first home. She brought me along that whole journey with her. So I went to the bank with her to get her mortgage. I went to the lawyers with her. She taught me about home insurance and all those different things. Bring your kids along with you on those journeys, because I think a lot of kids, they're not seeing it. They're not seeing the actual journey of how their parents are managing their money. And so when they finally leave home, they know absolutely nothing about what it's like to manage money. So she did her budgeting with me. I remember sitting on the couch with her, and she had her Excel spreadsheet doing her budgeting, and I did it with her, and we shopped around for cheaper prices for power and internet and all of those things. And that was a really big part in my life, because it really normalised having a kōrero about personal finance and about how we can do things better, what can we cut costs on so that we can have more money in other areas, all of those things. She brought me along with her. So for other parents, that could be something to consider.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Do you give pocket money?
Pocket money. So the way that my mum did it, which I think is also quite weird, is at one point she decided, I think it was $2 for every year I was alive. So when I was like 11, it was like $22, maybe a fortnight or something. Yeah. And with that, she gave me bills. So it was, I had to pay for, I think it was like my bus ticket and my phone plan. So from that age, I knew, okay, so there's a $9 phone plan and you get like the smallest amount of everything, or I can spend all of my pocket money and get like data as well. So from that young age, I was like, actually, I'd rather have like spare money and I'll just have the cheapest plan ever. So I kept that $9 plan in like for a long time. And yeah, that's her pocket money system.
Yeah. And so you were making decisions at quite a young age and understanding the consequences of the decisions you were making.
Yeah, and I think that's something she really kind of instilled in me was the more money you make, the more responsibilities you have. And so as a young person, it was like, okay, so I'm making $22 or something, but I have to pay this and this. Okay, and there was actually some points where I started going, actually, I don't want to pay for my bus pass. I'm just going to walk to school. And it was literally like 4 kilometres. And I'd walk 4 kilometres to school, 4 kilometres back, 8 kilometres in a day. Yeah. But I was like, no, I save $1.43 at that point it was to go one way to school. So yeah, it taught me from a young age how to kind of prioritise what's important to me.
Yeah.
Is going on the bus important, or is having that money at the end of the week important?
Yeah, you're quite a lot like my daughter. So she bought herself a motorbike, right? She just knows exactly how much she's spending on fuel, and just when I can't justify it. Yeah. And so I'm going to get rides with people at work, or, all the rest of it, because that was her priority. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I suppose, what do you think gets in the way of people not achieving their financial goals?
I think that people are normalising the situation that they're in now, and I think a lot of people, it's a mindset really. If we think that there's nothing else we can really do to improve our situation, it's a limiting mindset. But if we kind of think, I want better and I'm going to work for better, then we're able to research how we can achieve that. We're going to talk to people who have already achieved that, and all of those things will allow us to grow and become better with our money. But if we're just staying stagnant in this position, I only make X amount of money, me, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and it is what it is. That's not going to allow us to grow, and it's not allow us to achieve more.
Yeah. KiwiSaver?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I love
like it?
KiwiSaver. There's a lot of benefits that a lot of people don't know about. So if you add $1,042 a year, the government will add $521 each year. That's something a lot of people don't know. That's like a 50% return on your money that you didn't, realise.
Yeah.
And then also your employer has to put 3% in if you're putting 3% in once you're 18. These are things that a lot of young people don't realise, and they'll go, I just want, the extra 8%. I don't want to put money into my KiwiSaver. But over the long term, it continues to grow. You get those employer benefits. It also helps you to get into your first home with the Kaingora first home grants. There's a lot of benefits that people don't realise about KiwiSaver.
Do you think that as you get closer to 25, you'll either set another goal for years out, or you'll revise, or what's your kind of mindset there?
Well, the mindset for me is I'm quite an ambitious person, and so a lofty goal is motivating for me, and there's a lot of people following my journey that are kind of, I guess, anticipating or waiting to see what will happen. So that kind of motivates me, and it's like, I know I've got to do this. So for me, it's I will be a millionaire by 25, and if I'm not, then I can redo that goal.
I suppose I don't just mean that. I mean, so should I be... here's a bit of my advice. Because as you were talking, so probably the worst birthday of my year was my 25th, which is kind of interesting, right? I'm 54, so I've had a lot of birthdays, yeah?
Yep.
And people talk about turning 40 and they talk about turning 50. All of those have been absolutely great. 25 freaked me out, and when I look back on it, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm quarter of the way through. At the best, 100, right? And like, I don't know what the next 25 looks like. And I overthought it, obviously, and got over it and moved on. So I suppose, I think you'll reach your goal, right? So I don't think you need to revise that goal. I'm just wondering if you set something when you're getting closer to 25 for 30, so that you don't get to 25 and go, well, I've done that.
Oh,
now
right,
what?
yes. No, I know what you're saying. So in terms of like next goals after that, I'm not really sure. I think there's, a good 6 years before that goal. So
you don't have to
I'll
know. I'm just encouraging you to think about that at 23, 24.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Because you can have a massive party when you're 25th because you're a millionaire.
Everyone's invited.
Yeah. We're all going to celebrate. Yeah. We can all do something about that. Okay, last thing then, recommendations of resources that people, obviously they should be following you.
Yes.
So we're going to tell them at the end how they do that, because I have been looking, and you've got some really nice, sensible, I don't have to read a mountain.
No. Bite-sized pieces of information.
We're like that. But other resources that you think people should look at if they're interested in their own financial independence?
Yeah, I think New Zealand actually has a lot of like finance podcasts and stuff that I really enjoy listening to. Girls That Invest, she does some awesome podcasts on investing. I love her stuff. Frances Cook, Cooking the Books, I love that podcast. And then for books, I really love the classics, really. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, The Cash Flow Quadrant, really awesome books. And then for like blogs, Money Hub does some awesome content, just really simple stuff. And then, of course, the Māori Millionaire podcast and blog. I think there's so many. And once you start having conversations with people about money, they'll come naturally to you, all of those resources.
Yeah, I love that. Kahu, it's time to switch things up a bit. This is where you're allowed to ask me something if you want.
Oh, okay. What's your biggest money mistake?
Oh, I bought a V8 once on the spur of the moment.
Yep.
Because I wanted to look cool. And it wouldn't even fit in my garage. So it was the most impractical, ridiculous, expensive, probably financial decision that I'd literally had to sell 2 weeks later at a loss because it was just, I couldn't even park it, for crying out loud. That was not a good one. But I spent a lot of time on a benefit, and I wasn't financially literate. So, there's times when people tell me that I'm so busy and it must be stressful, and I just think actually stressful was worrying whether I'd pay my bills next week.
Yes.
Stressful was, trying to collect up some change so that I could go and get some milk, So I think that that sort of motivation for me to have financial independence was really strong. And I'm a good saver now.
Awesome.
And I was thinking I probably have 6 different ways of income now.
Oh, cool. Do you want to share them?
I write and I podcast and I work at Bailey's and I'm an MC, and so I sort of have a number of. I'm a brand ambassador,
yes.
So I kind of have a number of different avenues of income, which I kind of enjoy, and I love that it gives me variety in life as well.
Awesome.
Kay, I've loved getting to know you today. So now this is your chance to tell people how they can find out more, how to follow you, where can they get you?
Yes, so at Māori Millionaire with an underscore on Instagram and TikTok, and on Facebook as well. www.maorimillionaire.com is the blog. And then if you search the Māori Millionaire podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it will come up. And I post weekly podcast episodes. I love interviewing Māori business owners and them sharing their journey with entrepreneurship. So basically it's all about personal finance, investing and entrepreneurship. Those are the 3 kaupapa I talk about.
Well, I think you're absolutely extraordinary. As I said to you, I've got no doubt you're going to achieve your goals. But I think what added to that is so absolutely special is how you're educating other people and genuinely caring about them, your own whānau, and thinking about how you can actually extend that. So I definitely just wish you absolutely all the best in life. And I'm going to be watching with eyes wide open, because I think it's going to be kind of exciting to see what you do.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And that's another episode of Ask Me Anything. Thank you for listening. If you want to get in touch, you can email me, Ask Paula at nzherald.co.nz. Send through some thoughts for the podcast or anything you like. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn. But make sure you follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also read my weekly column in the Herald on Sunday. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.